So hi everyone. So in the last video we have seen how to create an app in Genie. So in this video we will be explaining we'll see what are the things inside this app, what are the inbuilt files that are there in this app, and the most important things. So as you can see, these are the folders and files that are by default installed in your app that you have created. So there's something called app, bin, config, db is for the backend, and inside app you have something called resource where you define your model. Like if you create a resource, uh, you will be you will have a module, and inside that module there will be a model. Inside the model you can define your variables that you want to do some functions with. I will show everything in detail. And this is the DB. So whenever you create a resource, automatically a table will be created for that particular resource. Automatically it will be. You don't have to go and create a DB. And yeah. So this is the bootstrap file. This is the file which we have to run at first. So whatever app it is, uh, the bootstrap.jl is the first file which you have to run. So I've already mentioned how to run a file. Like you will be pressing shift and enter. So you have to run line by line. So shift enter for all the lines, and line by line the codes will be executed. So now the bootstrap file has run successfully. Now you will do up off. Up off is to start receiving the HTTP request. Just to start receiving the HTTP request. I've mentioned that in the previous video. So now you just click enter, and it will show the port number and your local host where the server is running. And it shows task runnable, so it's totally fine now. So our the app server is currently running now. Now I will show something called resource. So suppose you want to uh, you want to store your personal informations like your name. So our app is to get the personal details of a person and printing the details. Like our app will ask the user for their name, age, mobile number, email address, and everything, and it will be stored in the DB. And whenever you want to, suppose you want the details of all the person in the nearby in your locality, so you can store the information of all the person in your locality and store in the DB, and you can just print the DB, so it will show all the details. So suppose our app is used for getting the personal details of people. So for that, I need to define all these things, like whatever I mentioned, like name, age, mobile number, mail ID, everything I have to define. So where I will define, that is uh, inside this resource only. That is where the resource comes into play. So you have to create a resource. Once you create a resource, a model will be created. A module will be created, and inside the module you have a model. So inside this model is a representation of what all things you want. So inside that you can define your name, what type it is. Like name is of type string, so you can mention it as string. Then age is a number, so integer, all those things. So I will show you how to create a resource. So first uh, you will write genie dot new resource of okay, I am naming my resource as personal details because it is getting personal details. So this is the name of my resource and press enter. Okay, so a new resource is created, and which you can see it here. See, a new resource personal details is created, and if you click that tab, you can see 3 files being already installed. So whenever you create a resource, there will be 3 files that will be automatically added to your app folder, which is that module file and controller and validator. So this is the module which we have created, and this is the model. Sorry, the personal detail. This one. This is our model, and this is our module. So here you can define your variables. For example, okay, I for now I'll just give one name, one variable, that is name. Okay, so name is equal this, like you have to mention what type it is. Like in the initial video I have mentioned how to define a variable. This is how you define it, like what type it is. So it is of type string and is equal to double string means we're just mentioning its initial value is null. That's all. So obviously you're storing something here and you want to store these information in the backend because you want to fetch the details after some time. So you need to store whatever you want to fetch a later time in the DB, because DB is from where we'll fetch the information after some time. So if you go to the DB, you can see something called migrations. So inside this migration only, all our tables will be there. So when you created this new resource, automatically a table was created inside the migrations. So this is the table that is automatically created. So okay, I will show you how to define the variable which you have mentioned in the model, in how to define that in a DB. So we don't need this thing. So this is the format for defining a variable in a DB. So I'll just comment this because we'll look that and write. So my variable name is name, and this is the syntax of writing, and it is of type string, and strings S should be small letter. Here everything in small letters. So now you don't need these 2 lines, you can ignore it. Okay, so our DB defining is also done. So now we have the information stored in our model as well as in the DB. Now you can okay, so in order to give the name and fetch the name and put it inside a DB, for that I'll have to introduce you to something called routes, which is here. So I'll give a brief introduction of routes in the end of this video, but for now we'll just run the database and see if it's working totally fine. So far I've created a new resource. Okay, now when it comes to backend, there is something called SearchLight inside Genie. So SearchLight is the thing which deals with the backend. So SearchLight is an ORM. ORM means object readable mapping. So which directly communicate the program with the backend. So the programmer need not have to worry anything about the backend because the backend is completely handled by the ORM. So SearchLight is the ORM here. So okay, so what you have to do initially is you have to use that SearchLight. For that you write using SearchLight. So like initially when you're creating app, you're creating app inside Genie. So you used Genie, like you wrote using Genie. So similarly, we are dealing with backend. So you have to use the thing that is dealing with backend in Genie, which is Searchlight. So you're writing using Searchlight. And initially what you have to do is, um, so initially, you have to run the migration. So inside this migration only, our table is getting, created. So first, like when you're doing the app for the first time, when you're creating your first table, before that, for the first time when you're doing, you have to uh, create the migrations table first. That is the first thing which you're supposed to do. And after that, how much ever table you're doing, how much of a module you're creating, you just have to create those table. That is enough. But when you're doing it for the first time, you just have to create the migrations table first. So the command for that is SearchLight.Migrations dot create underscore migrations underscore table of. So yes, so a migration table is created. Now you can create your table wherever you have defined your variables. That particular table you will be running. So this is the module name for this migration file. So how to create a table is searchlight dot migrations dot up of, inside double quotes you will just, oh sorry, create table personal details, yes. So inside up of, so this is the statement for creating a table. So if you click enter, your table is successfully created. So far everything is successfully done without any error. So our we have created a module, we have defined variables inside our model, and we have made the particular changes in the table also, and we have created the table also. So far everything is fine. Now in order to give data and to fetch that data whichever you have given, and to print the and to store this fetched value inside a table, and to print that table, by table I mean the backend table, like the table which you have created here. So for that, you need to know something about routes. So I'll tell you what routes is. So as you can see here, so if you want to define some functions, for example, if you want to do some addition, so you can define your own routes. You can write something like route of addition, and under this, like you can write do, and in between these do and end you can define the function like a is equal to get the value, b is equal to get the value, sum it off. So whatever functions you want to do, that you can define inside the route, and you can get the desirable results. So how you define a route is, okay, I have an explanation for routes. So how to map URLs to Julia functions. A core part of the Genie framework is the idea of a router. Okay, routers take the user action of visiting a specific URL and associate it with a Julia function being called. So suppose you have written a function, and you want to print that function, or you want to call that function. Routers will help you do this. So as you can see here, using Genie route router, obviously, and then they've mentioned route in double quotes slash hello. So hello is the route name here, and if this hello route is called, what to do is defined in between these do and end. So print hello free code cap. Okay, so if you if you go to your local host and the port number, and if you write /hello or whatever your route name is, where you have mentioned, where you have defined the function, if you run that, you can see hello free code camp getting printed. So this is what that route will do. So now coming here, so here by default in whatever Genie app you create, this is the default router file. So as you can see, route slash, it's just slash with nothing else. So just slash and it's blank. So if just a slash is there, do this thing, which is calling the pre-built welcome.html file that is there inside Julia. So if there is nothing, if it's just a slash, just show the welcome.html page. So as you can see, if you go to 127, yes. So our server was running. So this is same as this with a slash. So that is why we are getting this welcome.html. This is the pre-built welcome.html page that is there inside Genie. So yeah, so that is getting called. Now you can define your own routes and call that route and whatever functions you want to do. If in the example which we have shown, you can give the name, age, phone number, email address, everything in the URL and fetch those details using the route, and you can store those information inside a table, your backend table, and you can print that table. So routes makes all these works very easy. That is the reason why we need routes. So in the next video, I will show you how these things, like whatever I mentioned, is done using routes, and I will also show how you can store information in a DB also and print the table. So that we'll see in the next video. Thank you.